This will be the most practical BMW 3 Series you will ever see. The difficulty of entering the pit? Men can't get around a 3 Series. How many people have been brainwashed into the pit by this sentence from E chassis to G chassis? As long as you like the 3 Series, you can have fun with any amount of money. So let's start today's story. The BMW 3 Series has been in China for a total of 21 years. In the past 21 years, a total of 4 generations of models have been brought to us, including 0304 models, E4605, 12 models, E90 13, 19 models, F30, F35, 20 models, and G20, G28 models on sale. E46 of them are collectible cars. There is no market price. How much is it worth based on your beliefs? Unless you want to experience the first generation of classic magic machine M54. Otherwise, it is really not recommended to buy it. As for E90, I only recommend it if you have time. Bimmer with energy to buy. If you have a plan, come on. I recommend buying a later 11 or 12 model BMW 3251. The market price is around $4,100 USD. We will analyze the specific reasons slowly. The E90 series is BMW's 5th generation 3 Series with a total of 4 body shapes. They are 4-door E90 station wagon E91, 2-door E92, and convertible E93. This is also the last generation of the 3 Series to have 4 body types simultaneously. What about after E90? These 2-door convertibles were taken out separately and named the 4 Series. In 2009, the 3 Series underwent a midterm facelift. This is what BMW fans often call LCI. What about after China's reform? Headlight and taillight cover steering machine. The interior has undergone some changes, so it's definitely right to buy the later ones. E90. This generation of gearbox is in addition to the low manual and double-door 335 double clutch. The remaining one is only 6AT. This 6AT is divided into GM GA6L45R and ZF 6HP19. The plastic oil pan is ZF metal. The oil pan is universal. According to my experience playing 3 Series, almost all domestically produced 3 Series are from ZF. Most of the general purpose boxes appear on the imported 3 Series. The oil and filter elements during the maintenance of these 2 gearboxes are different. Be sure to ask the store to confirm it for you. The common engines of the E Series are the N46B20 of the 318 and 320. 325 of N52B25, N52B30 of double-door 330, N54B30, and later versions of the 4-door 335, and the N55B30 of the 335 double-door. Among them, the 318 and 320 equipped with N46 are not recommended to buy, because the residual value of the E90 generation is already very low. There is no need to buy this engine with weak power and many faults. The N52B25 of the 325i is a special one. Although it is ostensibly the same machine as the N52B30, it's just reduced displacement. But according to many car owners, the durability of B25 is much worse than that of B30. And the pre-2010 B25 had a serious oil burning problem. And the problem comes from the piston rings. This requires engine repair to solve it. This is why I suggest that you must buy 11, or the reason for 30-51 of 12. The N52B30. It can be said to be the most classic engine in the civilian BMW, and thanks to the setting of large displacement self-priming, output is very linear. It's really not comparable to the N20 and B48 at the back. Here is a piece of trivia. There are always people arguing, N52 valve cover, is it metal or plastic? You know, they're both right. It's metal in the early stage. It's plastic later. However, N52B30 is only available on imported 2-door 3301. And what about 3301? Selling cars at ancestral prices. Very low cost performance. 3 Series for N52B30. It's really not something that can be easily obtained. So the 325i of N52B25 is suitable for most people. As for 335, as long as you have sufficient funds, just start it directly. After all, it is the closest car to the M3. But I only recommend you to buy a 4-door 335 of 12 models. N55 engine with 6AT. It's fairly stable. Those who have played must know what I am talking about. Early N54, as long as you are not trying to make high horsepower, don't run easily. And the dual-door 335's dual-clutch gearbox, if you're unlucky to catch up with a tyrannized car, you can only ask for your own blessings. Therefore, the 4-door 335 of the 12 models is the most preferred. But if you can play N54 and 55, I believe you must know cars very well. Most likely you don't need to watch this kind of popular science video. In fact, you need to prepare these more than 10-year-old BMWs. I'm ready to drive tens of thousands of kilometers, and there will be basically no failure. However, many people do not know how to maintain an old BMW. That's why there is such a thing as a repaired BMW. For example, the simplest Cheeming tank oil leakage problem. Many people will easily listen to the repair shop and use metal to improve the accessories. And what happens is, it takes a while to malfunction, and you have to start all over again. Any accessories of the old BMW must use original parts or OEM parts. Even if it's plastic, there's nothing you can do. Many processing accuracy of secondary parts cannot meet the original factory requirements. Since 2013, the 3 Series has fully entered the era of F chassis. Power has also been replaced with a turbocharged engine. At the same time, this generation is also the most suitable for ordinary people to buy. According to the budget, if it's $8,100, $9,500 USD, recommend 15 320 Super Sport design packages. $9,000, $12,000 USD, I recommend the 17 model 320 Twisman Sports package. If you don't choose a swimming suit, you can choose a luxury suit. Just try not to buy fashionable or aggressive. The configuration is too low. Did you choose the long axis or the standard axis? I think it's better to focus on the condition of the car. Daily driving makes no difference. In my opinion, the biggest difference between the long axis and the standard axis is the price. Those who tell you that short axis control is good are really psychological rather than practical. The common power of F chassis is 316 1.6T, 318 1.5T 16 models, and earlier high and low power, and 2017 and later high and low power B48, domestic 335 N55, import 340 B58. There is also a niche hybrid N55. 1.6T and 1.5T can be ignored directly. The 1.6T end of 13B16 is not a good thing, same as industrial waste. A collection of N20 oil seepage. B48 leaks water and burns oil. Why did you say you bought it? The 1.5T B38 B15 3-cylinder engine itself has no fatal problems. I have also played the Mini F56 with the same engine. Overall, I have nothing particularly annoying about this engine. It shouldn't be on a B-class car. As for the 2.0T N20 B20, people generally have mixed reviews for this engine, but I think the later N20 is still very stable. At least my previous terminal N20 didn't burn out, and at one point I thought I bought a fake BMW. N20 is divided into the early version and the later version. The cutoff point was probably around August of 14. What about the later version of the N20? The turbo pull bag has been improved. From a PWG of a vacuum to a EWG of an electron, and it has been replaced with an improved piston. There will be no 13-14 models, the knocking sound on the 3 Series. So why do we recommend buying the 15th model of the 3 Series? It is because of this that although the steel knocking sound will not cause failure or affect your use, but the sound was extremely unpleasant, especially at night when it's quiet and you feel like you've bought a tractor. And then there's the ancestral BMW oil seepage. Valve chamber cover, oil case base, oil pan, just change it directly. Technology mature, price close to the people. Overall, the N20 engine is not as fuel economy as the B48. In other aspects, it is not a big problem to tie with B48. Of course, it does not include later power upgrades. After the 17th model, the engine was replaced with a B48 engine. I think it is the 2.0T engine worth buying by BMW so far, and the oil leakage problem was greatly reduced. And it doesn't have the oil burning problem of the later B48 TU, which is perfect. What about the gearbox? Both the F and G chassis are ZF's 8 quite stable. It's just that the ruler ratio is slightly different according to the different power levels, but the maintenance method is the same. By the way, is the BMW gearbox that everyone is most concerned about maintenance-free for life? Let me tell you first. Kaifu is not maintenance-free for life, but you don't have to follow the 4S shop suggestion to change the oil $80,000. According to my experience, just change the oil for 120,000 kilometers. If you haven't changed it for more than 150,000, then you don't need to change it. To summarize, if the chassis budget is low, buy 15 models. Direct 18 with high budget. The pharmaceutical industry listened to me without loss. What about the high and low power? It all depends on the budget. But remember, be sure not to use low power brush programs to become high power. Remember. In addition, the car selection idea of the 4 Series is the same as that of the 3 Series. If you have a low budget, buy 15 models. If you have a sufficient budget, buy 178 models. 20 models came to the bottom of G. Disquera. As for this generation, the model I recommend to buy is the 2325 Li Sports. As we all know, the reason for the chip shortage caused by masks, since the 21 models, the BMW 3 Series has been simplifying various configurations one after another. Stereos, car keys, give it a kick, electric lumbar support. The list goes on and on. So in order not to step on lightning, just ignore the model with mask water paint. And the most important thing is that although the 20 models are low power models, they are equipped with high power engines. The 20 models are divided into 19-year production and 20-year production. In 19, it is equipped with an imported B48B20B. The 20-year-old is equipped with a domestic B48B20D. It's all high-powered engines that have been converted into low-powered versions by limiting horsepower. And a future production is already a standard low-power engine. And the design of only the straw integrated steel cover is adopted. A cryogenic kettle is also missing. So whether you play with the car or not, you always hope that the engine specifications of your car are higher, right? Moreover, due to the age of the car, the price of the second-hand 3 Series of 20 models is also more suitable. And then there's the drumstick. I always think the current Orchid finger handle is not so good looking. To summarize, buy the first batch of 3 Series with both the chassis and the chassis. Cheap engines still have potential. The 4 Series used car with a G chassis is currently not recommended for purchase, and there is no cost performance. If you really like coupes, you can take a look at imported Mercedes-Benz C-Class and Audi A5. As for the problem of B48T oil burning oil, it is indeed a real person. This face-to-face. Of course, some car owners currently report that the low-power B48 mobile phone oil after 23 models has been greatly relieved. But for a used car, if you really want to buy a car after 2 or 3 years, is it necessary to buy a second-hand one at that price?